All right, guys, so I'm going to go over Firelands BiS for this upcoming phase. Even though it is still a couple of months away, we still have a lot of testing to do. I'm just going to do a kind of a rough draft of what to expect later on in Firelands, going over gear and basing it off of the sim data that I can currently find. I will have more details as the time goes on and the set bonuses get added in, just to break down a few other things, but those next ones will be kind of a shorter one than this. All right, so let's break down the gear for Firelands. Um, there's two different ways that I've looked at trying to get this done, but from everything that I've done for research and um, what I can see from the current Sims, this four-piece setup will be the best way to do it. It's running helm, shoulders, chest, and legs, running haste agi for your yellow sockets, blue sockets only if it's 20 agi. And as you can tell, both of these blue sockets are only 10. So I'm not even going for that, just because you lose a lot of extra attack power that you can gain from that. So just pretty much full red gems except for those two yellows to get the extra haste and 20 agi. The only way that I'm going for sockets is if it's 20 or more agi in those socket bonuses. So let's start out. Why am I going out of crit in this slot and into haste? I want to try and aim for about 20% haste. The more haste that we have, the better off our energy regen is going to be. Um, there are quite a lot of different things that you could do to even increase your haste further, by dropping out of all of your extra like mastery and your crit if a piece doesn't have haste on it whatsoever, which, for some of my reforges you can see that I have that done. I went straight into haste if it does not have haste on it. So like my rings, they both have haste mastery on them. I kept them that way. I could drop the mastery for more crit. That way my shreds are doing more damage so that I can get a bigger fire dot on the targets. I haven't really seen a big benefit to that yet, but the Sims, as time of recording, don't currently have our 2 and 4 piece working for the WoW Sims yet. So it still be determined by that, and I will do a new video if the crit is better than the mastery at that point. Um, but from what I've seen, it really is a small difference, based off of the numbers. So we do have one random roll epic that we're going to be going for. It's from Alithrazor, and the one I looked at trying to get for this is of the Zephyr, which is haste mastery, and going out of the mastery for the reforge into expertise to get our expertise cap. It puts us perfectly at expertise cap. We're just above hit cap, which is fine, and um, the rest of the gear is pretty straightforward. Of course, you want the rag neck, and this cape just happens to be the best cape for the rest of Cata. The cape that you can get in Dragon Soul is a Valor one that has 60 less agi. It's practically the same. Um, it's practically the same as far as secondary stats, but the 60 agi loss is the biggest difference because then that's extra crit, that's extra AP that you're not getting from that slot. There isn't really that big of a difference because capes, necks, and rings are one of the smallest DPS increases, but I would still go for this. Like I'm putting this as my number one because it's BiS for the rest of the game. I don't have to worry about replacing it, and it's just that good. Um, the Flame Scythe, yay, we get Firecat. This is off of Major Domo, and it turns our cat form into a fire cat form, which just as a cosmetic view, it doesn't actually give your paw damage any fire, but it's just a cool looking thing that we can look forward to for Firelands. Um, then we have the gloves, which I believe drop off of Shannox. So Shannox heroic gloves is what we're looking for our glove slot. The waist is a trash drop, which you can upgrade by getting a heroic token from the bosses. We're probably not going to be in high contest for getting this upgrade early on, but the more you kill the bosses, the more that they're going to drop, and then more that you can actually pick them up later on. Our boots are going to be the ones from Major Domo as well. So we've got 2 items off of Major Domo, this Flame Scythe and the boots. There isn't really much competition because you're only fighting rogues, and maybe if you have another feral druid, but rogues and feral druids are the only ones that are contesting for leather. One of our rings is from the rep, and it's not from the daily rep, it's from the rep from doing the raid. And this is the exalted version, which gives you 40 agi socket plus the 10 socket bonus. It's a really good ring. There aren't really any other rings in contention other than Widow's Kiss, which is from your Bethelak, which is the spider boss. Really easy one to get early on. It's one of the easier heroics from what I've seen so far. I don't think a lot of groups will have problems with the first 5 bosses in Firelands at all. Major Domo may be the little bit of a struggle, but then Rag for your neck and your trinket matrix restabilizer, those 2 are going to be harder to get. You're going to be fighting hunters, enhancement shamans, and rogues for both of those items. So if you can try and get your guild to prio them to you, or if you're trying to do like a GKP for them, then I wouldn't really worry about the next slot. The trinket is a great crit trinket because it gives you your highest stats, secondary stats, which is haste, mastery, or crit. You're still going to get the crit benefit from this either way, because crit's still going to be our highest stat for our secondaries. No matter what we do, it's pretty much just going to be crit. And then your hunger is the other trinket, which that one drops off of Major Domo as well. It's a great amount of haste. It basically doubles your haste while it's up. So we may need to be just kind of spreading out our haste buffs. If you are a troll, you want to spread it out to after this trinket's off, or you could even stack it if you really wanted to, but you should try and like scatter them out from what I'm thinking, just to get some extra energy so you can get more of your dot going and more shreds out. So staggering the hunger with lust and your racial for trolls, it's gonna just balance out your energy gain, and you'll have more consistent shreds throughout the rest of the fight or throughout the entire fight. Last slot is your relic. Relic you buy off of the vendor, and it's probably the only piece that I would be buying, other than getting my chest and legs, because you want to get these 2 pieces ASAP to give you your 2-piece bonus to start doing extra damage, even over the current tier for bot, BWD, and for throne. I would still pick up chest and legs like ASAP. Those are probably going to be the first pieces I buy. Next pieces, I'm going to get the relic, and if I have anything else that I need to upgrade from the Valor, I would do that at that point. But yeah, that's pretty much covers all of that. As far as your talent, I more opt into the off-tank talent build. There, you could even go taking off everything for natural reaction and your thick hide and putting it to brutal impact if you need to do interrupts as a pure DPS. But if you're an off tank, you're going to want to have those 2 still. But normally I go into perseverance for 6% spell damage reduction and brutal impact for for my DPS Druid. And Berserk, I haven't really gotten a lot of testing to see if Berserk is going to be better than Tiger's Fury, um, just because of your set bonus is going to extend your Berserk by 2 seconds every time you do a combo point spender. Currently in tier 11 gear, I am getting roughly about 4 to 5 finishers out during an extended Berserk window, which means that my Berserk's going to last approximately 30 to 35 seconds now instead of the 25 if you have the talent. So I thought about dropping it and putting in Tiger's Fury instead for the extra 3 second cooldown reduction. So essentially, right after I get out of Berserk, I have Tiger's Fury that I can proc immediately after and get a full energy bar back going. But I still need some tests on that. All right, so just to expand a little bit more on the DPS portion of it. So I went and did this based off of the current sims as of today, and this is what I've seen. So if I go over to results, it should show that the two piece is procking here based off of shreds, but I have 1100 DPS, so it's not showing on here. I even checked the debuffs that we're putting up, and it's not even showing there either. So I would assume at this point, with the haste that I have, which is roughly about almost 20%, it's pretty close, um, that we're going to get about 1100 more DPS from that two-piece bonus, which will increase it to 39k DPS. But I did run a variance over here to see if having the close to 15% haste would be better, just so I have more crits, more, I think a little bit more mastery. Yeah, it's like 1% more mastery, a little over 1%. But it's like a 22, 23 DPS difference. So it's not a huge difference between the two. If you're going for more crit and mastery versus more haste, 5% haste versus 1% mastery, and quick math says 2.5 crit. Not a big difference. I think the haste is going to be more beneficial, and based off of everything for research I've done, it's going to be haste. Haste is the way to go. So again, gaining about 1100 DPS from just the two piece, and the four piece is also not in here, so you're probably going to gain even more DPS because of the extra berserk timing that you're getting. So I want to guesstimate about 40k on a single target fight for 3 minutes. um, Granted, a lot of the fights aren't going to be 3 minutes. They're probably going to be longer than that. There's a lot of fights where you're going to be able to use your berserk and then you're going to fall off because it's either between target swapping or the fight's too long. It really just depends, but I just base it off of the basic amount of 3 minutes, um, and just single target fights, because there are going to be a few fights that you're going to be just pure single target, just on the boss, tank and spank the whole time. This just happens to be the best way that I've can tell the difference between things. Um, so let's see, just NG leatherworking for my professions, basic buffs. For my talents, I have the off tank talents with the current glyphs I'm running, but again, as far as your buffs go, your berserk uptime is going to probably be higher than that 14%. It might even get up to about 15%, um, just based off of the amount of time that you're going to be in berserk. And again, is going to require a little bit more simming later on for when it goes live for the set bonus, or set bonuses, I should say. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. All right, so I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, go ahead and leave a like, leave a comment if you have any questions on it. I will try and do an updated version of this when the tier set bonuses get put into The Sims. So expect a little bit of variation on that, but not by much. But yeah, enjoy.